My heart is very full this morning as I address you on this very, very exciting opportunity. Certainly one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting junctions in my ministry here with you for 10 years, because this is a point that we only dreamed about 10 years ago as we were crafting a strategic plan for the next 10 years of our lives together. And it's only proven what is typical in God's grace, that we couldn't dream as big as God because He's exceeded our dreams in giving us even more people and more ministry opportunities than we envisioned at the time. And this is also a unique opportunity for us as a congregation in at least a generation. It's been several decades since we were able to think about adding new space for the growth that God has given us. New space even for children in a downtown church. Do you realize how rare that is? That we're planning a space for 700 children in a downtown church, many of whom we already have, over 500 of them already within our walls. God is doing a great thing here in this urban setting that is touching not only our region but the whole world. And it's my privilege to kick it off today with these few words and then to show you a very inspiring video, a flyover of the building that we are dreaming about, God helping us, God enabling us to build for His glory. I have to say something about that video before I forget it, and that it itself fulfills a mission that is very close to our heart. Our architects are a part of a company called Good City Architects. They're Christians, and they connect with other architects across the country in doing mission work. And the mission work is sharing their gifts with emerging economies and third world countries around the world, especially in places where the gospel doesn't have easy access. And so this video was crafted by we'll say, a group of Middle Easterners to protect their identity as Christians. But these who have used, these architects have helped these believers craft this company that creates 3D videos for architectural projects as a means of supporting themselves. So even the video is an aspect or fulfills our mission. Let me tell you something about this building that you're going to fly through in a moment. Look at the insert that is in your bulletin that has several pictures on it, 4 pictures along the left side of the page. I want you to have these 4 pictures in your mind because you'll fly through this building pretty quickly. It'll be on the website. You can go back and fly through it again and again. But this building does at least 4 things. If you heard the presentation on February the 1st made primarily by John Barrett, you heard that we are more than out of space for all of our ministries, especially for children's ministries, not just that meet on Sunday, but all through the week. If you did not hear that presentation, I urge you to go to the website, just click on the Building Generosity icon, and it'll take you to that presentation. Unfortunately, my face is on the video, so you're going to hear most of what I've said there. So scroll through that, get to John Barrett, and you'll get the intelligent, objective presentation of this building, which is the best I've ever heard. And he showed us that we're out of space, more than out of space, for children and adult education space as well as other ministries. This building adds 23,000 plus square feet. It accommodates 700 children. In the video it says 900 children, which was our original scope, but we've trimmed the building back to what we think is a more accurate budget for us. It provides learning space, as I said, for adults and children, not just on Sundays, but through the week. It also offloads other parts of the building so that we can create dedicated space for overflow worship areas, for connecting, for caring, for growing, for service, all the emphases of our church. That second picture down also communicates the same, these beautiful children's spaces. And what is not pictured here is an art room for our burgeoning Hope for Augusta ministry, which includes, among other things, an art ministry, cutting another hole in that box of the typical urban kid and showing a way of escape and reminding them that they're beautifully created in the image of God, and they can imitate His image by creating beauty themselves. There's an art room in this building as well. And then another emphasis you see in the third picture is on welcoming. We heard about 1,000 people through this room that is right behind me. It's about the size of an average living room. And we call that the Welcome Center. Low ceilings, small space. Welcoming is something that is critically important to our mission and is in keeping with the history of this church. Even when the church in the 1800s was desperately dependent on pew rental for income, the church set apart pews, one of them is right back there, for the stranger, for the person who didn't own a pew, the person who was visiting. That's always been in our DNA. Last week I had the great joy of meeting with some of our newer members, maybe about 30 of our new members who are also people of color, in response to our prayers, African American and Asian and Hispanic. The common theme among each one's testimony was, I overcame whatever uneasiness I had about coming into a predominantly white church because I was so warmly welcomed. We need very adequate, much more adequate welcoming space for that kind of ministry. And then you notice the bottom picture is of an auditorium, which will be on the east end of the building, reaching into our city. I think that part of our building will become the most used space on our campus. It'll not only serve children, but it'll serve all kinds of needs throughout the week, including the ballet program that we are starting in connection with other leaders in our city, another inner city outreach to cut another hole in the box that is so sadly represented among many urban children. Now, what do we need to do this? We need $6.5 million. We have trimmed that budget. We've put very sharp pencil to these plans to say, what do we think that we could do by stretching just a bit as a congregation? What do we think that we could raise in a reasonable period of time? $6.5 million. I was very pleasantly surprised to find even this morning that gold tracker, as you see at the very bottom of the page, is over halfway there. We have already received $3.7 million in commitments to the building. Some of those commitments have already been paid up. Some people are starting businesses, some people have started businesses, and they're sharing the profits with us to build that building because they recognize that it's not just for their children, their grandchildren, not just for our people, it is for those who are not presently part of this congregation and for the generations to come, which I'll talk more about in the sermon. So what we're asking you to do is to commit as these already have. I want you to know that we're not a wealthy congregation. I want you to know that there are not secret boxes of money buried under the magnolia trees. I want you to know we don't have this money. It will depend on your and my commitment to it. And we're praying not just that the money would come in, but we've said that we would feel like that if we got all the money and only 20% of the people or 50% of the people even participated, the whole project would be a failure. We want 100% of the congregation to participate by saying, we want to be a part of this incredible mission that God is working out that is going to make an impact on the generations to come, just as our forefathers sacrificed 47 of them to build this beautiful space that we're in right now. We've learned something with the recent missions budget. You know, for weeks and weeks and weeks, we used to say, please give to the missions offering following on the missions conference. And finally, some of these other pastors came up with the idea, just ask everybody to participate. Just give something just to participate. And when everybody just gave something, we not only hit the goal, but slid through it. Because I think some of us don't give because we think, my gift is so small, what difference could it make? It can make a lot of difference when your 5 loaves and 2 fishes are put into the hand of the Savior who can magnify it. You want to be a part of this generational opportunity to reach into our city and into the next generation. We ask you, I urge you as your pastor to pray carefully over that pledge card and turn those in by May 17th. And we are trusting God that that money could be committed by May 17 and break ground by July. Would that not be an answer to our frequent prayer, God, get a name for yourself? What a great time it is to be alive. What a great time it is to participate, to catch up, try to catch up to what God is doing. Now, as we listen to the presentation, as we watch it, dream big in God.
I was thinking about how exciting a time it is. A church that's building is a growing church, and we think it's a wonderful place to be. We like the fact that God is working and it's so vibrant. So we're very happy to be part of the program.
It's something that I want to be a part of because I love the fellowship and the leadership in the body of this church, and I trust what they're doing. And I also want to be opening my hand to be generous and not grasping, whether that means monetarily or even in my own vision of what I can imagine and where this church is going.
I love the fact that our church is waiting until we have the funds, and that we're not, mortgaging our future, and that we're going to do this, and God will bless it richly through our giving.
The mission that mentors young people in the city of Augusta, I think this is just awesome. I would give as much as I could to encourage it and to help them.
To be able to provide a place for community events during the week and to actually use this for the betterment of our community here downtown is a great thing.
We're called to be salt and light in this world, and that's exactly what we're going to be able to do with this building and with the resources that it's going to provide.
It's obvious that this is going to be a wonderful building and will fill that need. And the overall picture of it, I think, is a wonderful thing to be a part of. And let's face it, the children are the future of First Pres.
For over 200 years, God has prospered the work of First Presbyterian Church Augusta. As we begin our 3rd century, God has grown and is actively growing this church. We now have a desperate need for facilities to support this growth and our mission to our community. Through secure access points, this 23,400 square foot building will feature 20 classrooms that will accommodate nurseries through our 5th grade. By adding these classrooms and moving our children into these secure spaces, that will free up over 14 spaces in our existing structures for renovation into adult classrooms. The connection point to the existing building is the children's check-in lobby, featuring arched windows reflective of the sanctuary design, vaulted ceilings, stair and elevator access to the 2nd floor, and a gathering place for families. And of course, our electronic check-in system for the convenience of our families. Behind the secure access points are 20 classrooms for nurseries through 5th grade. There's Gerald Killian. Hey, Gerald. Each classroom will accommodate between 20 and 30 students. Christian education has been one of the hallmarks, one of the cornerstones of First Presbyterian Church, teaching adults and children alike how to love God and to love their neighbor. This children's ministry building will also feature a 2,000 square foot art studio with vaulted ceilings and beautiful sunlight, a 4,000 square foot auditorium with a sprung floor to accommodate an inner city ballet and dance instruction. It can also be used for community outreach meetings, neighborhood meetings, our children's Fifth Sunday worship services, and other church activities. The time has come to grow our infrastructure, to grow our facilities, to meet the current and future needs of First Presbyterian Church. We invite you to be a part of this exciting opportunity as we seek to restore people and rebuild places to the glory of God.